Hello, good afternoon, good everything to everyone. Amen. My name
Hello,
is Dr. Heraclio Wyatt, and this is my co-host.
Miss Paulette Wyatt. Hello,
Amen.
everybody.
Hello,
Hi,
hello,
family.
hello, family, and we're here for another motivational Monday. And today's topic is mid-course adjustments. Mid-course
Mm,
adjustments, embracing purpose and renewal in the middle of life. And our aim and objective today is kind of redefine how we talk about midlife. We use the term midlife crisis, but when you use it that way, we don't get to see the opportunity that presents for us to grow, redefine ourselves, and move in a positive direction. Um, so today we have a special guest. But before we introduce her, we also want to just acknowledge that we have with us. We've been on Facebook for the last couple of months, but today we're on our own YouTube page, our YouTube page, yay,
yay.
and it's called the Bounce Back. Let me see if I could get it up there for you. As you can see, it's the Bounce Back. You go on YouTube and type in the Bounce Back or at the Bounce Back community, and you can hang with us. And so we're gonna be kind of reconfiguring and redefining the direction of our podcast based on that. But based on it, it's not just, we don't want to just motivate. We want to help you, people our age, us Gen Xers and a little older, be able to live life understanding that we need to have resilience, purpose, and strength to get through the days we live in. But we're going to begin today's show. You want to say anything, sweetheart?
Well, I mean, it's a great topic tonight, and tonight's topic is really the core of why we do what we do. I always have a running joke with a lot of my friends, even with you. Nobody told me about this part. You could be going through something and be like, I won't talk about what the parts are, but I told one friend, I was like, we supposed to have a meeting and you were supposed to tell me about XYZ.
Right.
And they laugh about it, and so we realize that, at this stage of our lives, we and our peers are going through similar situations. And so we really want to come together and form a community where we can share and we can journey through this stage together. Because a lot of times, you feel like you're in it by yourself and you're alone and you're isolated, and we're not. There's a community out there that, that's going through this stage of life. And so we're just here to support each other, to learn from each other, and just to glean off of what information we can get so we can be better for ourselves.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us.
And thank you. And we're here. So we needed help for this topic. We're familiar with it because we're going through it.
Yes.
But we needed help with this topic. So I want to introduce to you someone I call a friend, Theresa Allen. Theresa E. Allen. She's a licensed psychotherapist, consultant, and life coach. She's a licensed clinical social worker with over 40 years of experience in psychotherapy and organizational development. She has held roles such as executive director, life coach, and consultant. She's renowned for her work in social justice and stigma reduction. Theresa has led programs for marginalized individuals and faith-based communities across the U.S. and abroad, specializing in emotional well-being for women and developing a healthy mother-daughter relationship. She employs a holistic approach to life transitions, which we're talking about today, offering tailored interventions. Her practical style inspires others to overcome challenges and to celebrate life. Amen. We welcome you, Amen, Miss Theresa.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the family, Theresa. So welcome.
Did you write that?
No, you did.
Good to see you all.
Yeah. And I should have told everybody I call you friend as well.
Yes.
And you could tell them how we met, but introduce yourself and let us know how we met.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I am the one and only Theresa Allen, and we've known each other must be like 3 or 4 years now.
Yes.
And we met at a conference that you attended and I was presenting at. And we kind of hit it off and been talking and threatening to do work with each other ever since. And so here we are. And Paulette, I'm glad to meet you. And you started off with something that you said in talking to a friend. You didn't tell me about this part. And it's not only part, but parts.
Yes.
and parts that are both physical and emotional.
Yes.
And so let's kind of get into it. We're talking about mid-course correction.
Right.
And I give you lots of kudos, as my dad would say, for coming up with a more a better word than crisis, because that's how we know it, as a midlife crisis.
Right.
And there's a reason for that. It's not a smooth transition, but a lot does happen during that period of time. And so thank you for the invitation to do this work with you all. And I'm going to do the best I can to start talking about it. I don't know that we're going to get through it all.
Right.
But I'm more than willing to come back if you'll have me.
We're going to take our time.
All right.
We love having you. We look forward to building not only just a personal relationship, but this community gets to know you as it grows, and hopefully you'll be with us as it grows. So thank you for being with us.
No problem.
So Paulette, you want to ask? I'm gonna let you ask the first question.
Okay, so so basically, we're talking about mid-course adjustments and embracing the purpose and the renewal in the middle of life. And so I guess the first question we want to say is how do we reframe? So the term we've always heard is, oh, I'm in the middle of a midlife crisis. They're in the middle of a midlife crisis. A middle-aged man buys a new motorcycle and a leather jacket. He going through a midlife crisis. A woman decides to color her hair a different color. She's going through a midlife crisis. So the term midlife crisis often it seems to be like a negative connotation. So my question to you is, how do you encourage your clients to reframe that concept? Or should we frame that concept?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you for that. So let's talk about what is and when does this thing come upon you? Okay, so between the ages of 40 and about 65, that's the period of time that this rather natural developmental phase begins. So anybody between the ages of 40 and 55 would be considered in midlife. And so you say, well, what happens in midlife? And we're talking about a reframing. So it's a transition. It's an awakening, and it's actually transformation. And so in terms of the parts, there's a transformation physically for men and women, and there is a transformation psychologically and emotionally for men as well as women. So let me talk a little bit about how do we even get to the term crisis? Well, popular culture, it is a time of change, and sometimes those changes are not positive, and we have nicknamed it pejoratively as a crisis.
Right.
When in fact it's a time of reflection, reassessing, and transforming. Reflecting, reassessing, and transformation.
Okay.
Those are three major things that happen to us. Yes, there's emotional highs and lows. And what happens in that period of time is people begin to reevaluate their lives. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing at this point? Am I where I thought I would be at this point in life? And when the answer comes back with a resounding no, I mean, not for everybody, but when the answer comes back, well, I'm not sure, or no, people do all kinds of things to try to course correct. And that's where we might have signs of crisis, or signs of behaviors that are like, where did that come from? So what are some of the things people reevaluate at this time? They reevaluate their identity. They reevaluate relationships. They reevaluate purpose. What am I here for to do? They reevaluate priorities, and they also reevaluate careers. So if you think of all of those things that's happening in this rather short period of time, it can make people get anxious. All right. So psychologically, this is where we come in with some of this stuff. People have what is known as identity crisis. Am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I making the type of money I should make? Is my relationships what they should be? Am I an imposter? Am I doing this imposter syndrome stuff? I work, I can pay my bills, but I don't think I'm anybody. And so people, they go through that type of thing. They think about accomplishments and regrets. I shouldn't have made that choice. I should have done this. I should have went to school. I should have not married. I should have taken this job. I should have left home. Regrets. We can wallpaper a room with regrets, right? So, and then there's personal growth. I didn't get promoted. I'm still shy. I don't have any friends. I don't have as many friends. And then if you add the social media situation where people actually gauge how popular they are by how many followers they have, and are they an influencer versus a follower, during this period of time, it's disastrous. Okay. So this identity crisis happens when people are trying to reconcile their younger desires to their present day situation.
Right.
And that's where you talk about the cars and the Hyundai and all of that type of stuff. Well, this is what I used to do, or what I always wanted. And let me do it now. But sometimes it's not a match. It's not a fit. The present day reality does not fit with your younger envisioned self. And sometimes people are so unhappy with their present day reality, they chuck everything and go to the younger envisioned self.
Right.
The younger envisioned self.
The alternative. Oh, wow.
Yes. So that's when things start to get a little shaky and people start making decisions that just don't seem to make much sense. Also during this time is, I mentioned, reflection. People really go in. They do a lot of introspective thinking and start to think about, well, given where I am, when you get in touch with the reality, given where I am, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, what do you want to do now? And so some people use this period of time to create legacy for their family members or for their community. So they create a legacy. Other people work on delving into spiritual and creative pursuits. It's like, I'm going back to school. I'm going to go to church. I'm not going to just go to church. I want to be somebody at church. I want to have a role at church. I want to understand who's God, what's going to happen, how important is religion in my life. They work very much in terms of the creative parts. This period of time, when you get to be 40 or 60, a lot has happened. The kids are almost gone.
You are talking about us tonight. I hope you know that you preach to us tonight. Lord have mercy.
For real, yeah.
Almost gone,
Wow.
Almost out the door. So what does that leave? The empty nest syndrome. You're almost ready to retire. Oh my God. Well, what am I going to do? What would I do if I don't have to go to work? what will I do if I don't have my job? Many people identities are their jobs or their positions. And if that's taken away or it's time to go, there's no reason, there's no purpose. They have no purpose in life. So the anxiety that comes up with that. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? How am I going to do it? What am I going to do if the kids leave? This relationship that I'm in wasn't good from before. And now that there's no much reason for us to stay together, because the kids are moving out, what now? It also creates a lot of angst when the relationship looks good and the kids are moving out, because now you have to talk to each other. Now you have to interact with each other.
Can I explain? So you said when the relationship looks good as opposed to what?
When it looked good before. The kids were there and everything was fine. But now the kids are moving out and it's just the two of you. That creates a lot of anxiety in couples. Okay. Because now you have to, you're going to interact with each other differently than you did when the kids were the focus of attention. Okay. Midlife, mid-course, I'll use your term, mid-course, during the mid-course, which is a natural stage of development, just like infancy, toddlerhood, going through the whole, I think it's 8,
puberty,
depending on the theorists, it could be, 7, 8, 9 stages of development. We fight it, but it's as natural as getting gray hair. Because it's going to come ready or not, whether you want it or not. So let's talk about the uncertainty of facing the unknown. What else happens during midlife? Well, it's also called the sandwich generation. And who's in the middle? You have the kids. You're not in the middle.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
Yeah.
Why are you in the middle?
Because we have our kids. They're growing up. And then I do have my dad and my stepmom.
Our parents are there
right now.
Their 80s, yeah.
Right now, my wife, she's helping to take care of her dad, who just came home from the nursing home. Yeah, my dad is 80. My dad is
81.
And so, yeah, we're right in the middle. There's nobody. Yeah.
And our baby is 20.
Is that what you meant by? Is that what you meant by sandwich?
No, they're in the middle. You're on the outside.
Who's on the outside? We are.
You all are on the outside.
Oh, let me hear this. Okay.
Break it down. Break it down. Okay.
They are your kids are in the middle. Your parents are in the middle. You have to take care of that middle, and you all are on the outside. So you imagine how you have to manage all of that stuff in the middle. Okay, right?
Okay.
You make a sandwich, you don't want the meat falling out and all of that, right? It's got to stay there. So you work hard to make all of that work. You're managing your parents and, as they age. You're managing your children as they launch. You're managing yourself as your parts begin to change.
Lord have mercy.
Right? And mentally and physically. What else happens during mid-course? Physically, there's a lot of changes, a lot of differences in terms of how men and women handle it. So during this period of time, before I get into the physical part, it's also marked by grief and loss. Think about that period of time and how many people are now starting to transition, to die. And so that weighs heavy on you, and you're worrying about it. Okay, when somebody in your circle dies, or your parents' circle dies, your mortality, the issue of mortality is a little bit more real than, reading about it. And then you have your own health challenges. Who's going to take care of me? If I get sick,
Wow.
I can't take care. My parents can't take care of me. And, I'm not sure these kids I raised.
Wow.
I'm not sure if they're going to do me right, as they say.
Wow.
And so all of that gets, factored in to this period of time that is characteristic of a lot of changes and turmoil. So I'm going to stop a minute and I'm going to let you ask me any questions that you might have.
You're on mute, sweetie. I just want to say I do have some other questions, but I do want to say last year I had to go to the hospital. I had surgery, and I remember being home, and me and my wife we talked about that this morning. And I was home and convalescent. I was home for 4 weeks. And me and my daughter got into argument because I asked her to do something for me, and she was giving me a hard time, and then that weighed on me. Oh man, if she treat me like this now when I'm this age, what's going to happen when I get older? So I just want to say I identify with so much of what you're saying. My question is, so you're going through these feelings, you notice these changes. How do we've always identified them as crises. And so I think in our heads, we already know, you talked about reflection. You talked about,
grief,
all these things that's going on. How do you build awareness? That's the question. How do you build awareness for what you're going through? Because sometimes you just don't know.
I like that because that's a good segue. If we're not calling it a crisis, which is so pejorative, and we don't want that.
Right.
If you're prepared, if you know something's coming and you're preparing for it, you'll handle it differently. And so even reframing the term can help. And so I've written down a few terms that we could look at it as instead of a crisis. A midlife awakening.
I like that one.
A time of increased self-awareness and clarity. Remember, you have been on borrowed time for other people for 40 years.
Preach.
Or more. Okay.
Yeah.
You're 40. And you've done for everybody else, including people at work, and you put yourself on hold, right? And now it's like you're coming up on that turn in the corner where you can focus on yourself. And if you know that's coming, instead of it being a crisis, it's almost like unicorns and fairy dust. It's like, wow, what can I get into? It's an awakening. What's it going to be like for me? Is that the anticipation of it can be exciting. That's one. A midlife transformation is another way you can look at it. A period of reinvention and personal evolution. Reinvent yourself. This is what I used to do, and this is what I'm planning to do. I didn't get a chance to have that business when I was younger, and now things are fine. I'm about ready to retire. I'm looking into it. So you have something to look forward to. Second time around, second adulthood.
That's another term?
A second adulthood.
Wow.
Okay. And this is a chance to redefine your success and what's fulfilling to you. You didn't do a lot of that stuff before because you couldn't, but now this is a period of time that you can start planning for it and be about it.
Right.
A midlife shift is another term that you can look, because it's natural. It's a natural form, a stage of development. You can realign your priorities and realign your purpose. This is what I did before, and this is what I'm leaning towards now. And then the last term is like a renaissance, midlife renaissance. Creativity, exploration, new beginnings. Like, I'm going to be the brand new me. I'm going to travel. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to pick up another trade. I'm going to, join a friends group. I'm going to, I know someone who's 55 and she's now running marathons.
Wow.
Literal marathons. What about mentoring? That's another place people can use it as a positive period of time in their lives. Be a mentor to somebody. So, those are ways that you can actually start to reframe the whole thing. The business of purpose, though, that's a lifelong question. Why am I here? What am I here to do? And it changes over time. It changes as we get older.
Right.
It's a good time during midlife to really delve into that and make decisions about which way you want to go. Okay. So I talked about the legacy. I talked about loss and grief, but there's also what I talked about, the highs and the lows. What also comes with it is depression and loneliness. And that's very real. When you don't have direction, it's like your whole life has been plugging holes and just getting by. And now you come to a period of time where you can have direction without a sense of where you're going. That can make someone feel a little depressed. You have nobody to do it with, you're lonely. This is a period of time where people do make bad choices in terms of friendships, just to fill that void that you think is there. People also tend to be isolated, and this has little to do with midlife and more to do with the way we are living in the world.
Okay.
People are isolated. I hear a lot of times, well, what about your next door neighbor? I don't know who they are. You never met them? No.
Wow.
I thought you said you lived there 20 years. Yeah. And you don't know who lives next door? Nope. That type of, well, if they're not my friend, I don't mess with them, leads to isolation. Sometimes people haven't developed friendships when they were younger, and staying in touch with their spouse or their boyfriend or their girlfriend. They were like, Siamese twins. And then one goes and the other one is like those, they don't know what to do, like fish out of water. So that isolation adds to the depression and the loneliness. Losing your youthfulness. I joked about the gray hair. That freaks a lot of people out. But it's not, obviously it's not freaking you out enough.
Why you say?
Because you got gray in your beard.
Well, this is not how I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I don't mind, because I've always had like a little baby face, and so as I get older, I'm appreciating that my face like I look grown now.
Oh, okay.
But I feel it so like I said, I just came from I was telling you earlier, I just came from the doctor today. Last year I've been to so many different doctors, and I always seem to be feeling aware. Like you mentioned that it's a moment and a time for us to have new opportunities. But my body, I want my 35-year-old body back so I can experience those opportunities, right? People tell me this might be the best time of my life. I just had a 49th birthday.
Oh, congratulations.
So thank you. But I don't want to be, I don't want the 40. I want to physically, and I don't know, this might be another question. As a man, I want to feel like I used to feel. How do I come to terms? Is that a grieving? How do I healthily grieve the fact that I'm not 35 anymore?
Well, I guess the best part of the question is it sounds like there's some acknowledgement that you can't go back. when you say,
it's rough.
how do I grieve? Okay, so
yeah.
I'm gonna give you some points for the fact that you do know that no, we cannot go back, and that not being able to go back is really difficult for some people. They grieve their youth, the vitality. You know, I used to be able to do such and such, and now I can't do it. I hear that, but it's almost like to get to be at that point, you miss out on all the other stuff that's here for you. Where before you had, you know, I think you might have heard us saying, uh, what is it? How does it go? Good health is wasted on the youth, or something like, something along that line. I can't remember exactly how it.
My father-in-law says that.
Did I say it right?
Something
good health is wasted on the youth.
Youth is wasted on the young.
On the young. Yes, okay, yes. Right, because they have all of the vitality, no hurt, no aches, no pains,
no wisdom,
and they don't no wisdom, and they just don't know what to do. And then we come along, chugging along, and you get to 40, you get to 45, and the light bulb starts to flicker. And while the light bulb is flickering, so is the patch on your back needing to be changed. And it's like, well, what? And you can't reconcile, I want to feel good, I want my body to feel good as my mind. And sometimes you can't get them in alignment. And so that's the loss. That's like what happens when you have had, you talked about surgery and it didn't go well. What happens when people lose their ability to ambulate? That's, you know, those kinds of things. What happens if you suddenly have heart issues, or you're diagnosed with diabetes? Those things are real, but we can't go back. And instead of pining over what we don't have and can't have, embrace where you're going. Embrace.
How do you do that though? What how? Because you're telling me that, and you want to ask a question, Paulette?
No. I mean, no, that's a good question. I just have to head on out.
Okay,
but this is so good.
Thank you. We'll talk more. Let's, you know.
We'll definitely talk more. But I guess and my little note is just saying, you asked the question. I think you alluded to being present, focusing on the current journey.
Yes,
that helps.
Yes,
as opposed to reflecting. I wouldn't say reflecting, but ruminating more on the past. That's what I find. Finding a way to pivot to the present. That's what I find has helped me.
Okay, so I got some suggestions on how. Be well. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right. So you said, you know, how do you do it? How are you more positive regarding this period of time in your life? There's a couple of things that you can do. First, cultivating self-awareness. Instead of concentrating on the negative, you know, we talk about gratitude journals and stuff like that. Excuse me. Instead of doing, I can't do this, I'm not doing this is not working, work on a gratitude journal. What are you grateful for? And it could be grateful for this now, and I didn't have that before. Sometimes when we do gratitude journals, we just say, I'm grateful for this, but we don't do the comparison of this is new. And you couldn't have had this now before because the circumstances were not there. So that's one. So being self-aware, cultivating self-awareness in terms of what you like about yourself, which way you're going and how you're getting there. Another thing you can do is journal. What are some of your spiritual practices? How are you taking care of your body? And by taking care of your body, sometimes we operate up out of what I don't know won't hurt me. And so a lot of people in this age group decide they don't want to go to the doctor.
Okay.
Because then I might find something out that I don't want to know.
Okay. Why is it good to know?
Because you can handle it. You can manage it. You can get it out the way.
Okay.
It's not, you go to the doctor, or you don't go to the doctor, you go to the emergency room because you have an issue, and then they tell you that it's bigger than you ever thought.
Because you waited too long.
You waited too long. Exactly.
Okay.
And so our bodies, going back to what Paulette said, the parts, our eyes, our teeth, our limbs, weight, all of that are things that we want to be mindful of during this period of time, so that as we get out of it, we are in our best health, at our best health. Another thing we can do is reassess your values. What's important to you? We do spend a lot of time growing our families, and their values are your values.
Right.
But when you come to this stage, you start to reevaluate your values. And you can add and subtract, multiply and divide, because it's less connected to other people.
So can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Because I find that what seems to be I feel like I'm going through this I'm grown now stage. And when I hear you talk about values, I really almost feel like I'm owning values that are really authentic to me. Because I hear you say we have our family's values. And then, so at this stage, are we claiming our own like individual distinct values?
Yes.
And what can we do to be, to go through? Is there a process we can use to say, do I really want to hold on to this, or do I want to let it go?
So that's a great question, because so many of us have been conditioned to believe what our parents and grandparents believed. And you don't even know why you believe it.
Right.
And so when you get to, I'm a grown blah blah, everybody knows how that to feel out, but then you're grown, but what does that mean? What's important to you?
Right.
What would you put your life on the line for? What makes you go to sleep at night and have a great night's sleep? What keeps you up at night? What are those values? And so as you reassess what's important, why is it important to you now as opposed to before? Why is it more important to you even more now than before? And you go through that period of discovery and exploration.
Okay.
So and then you might have a value now that never entered your whole family tradition.
Right.
Just as a quick aside, we just got through with the holidays, and traditions. We eat this, we go to this one's house, we sit at this table, we drink this, all the traditions. Unfortunately, those traditions, when they're not able to be continued during midlife, that's when people also become most distressed and depressed, because the tradition has ended. We got together with grandma so-and-so, and grandma so-and-so was the nucleus of the family.
Right. She anchored the
and
family.
She's not here anymore. What do we do? Where do we go? Oh, we don't I guess we ain't gonna have it no more because she's not here. And during this period of time, that's when you reinvent. Well, we're going to have a new tradition.
Right.
Or we can have a different tradition every year. It doesn't have to be the same thing, but we're so wed to the things that we are accustomed to, and they're no longer there, that sort of paves the way for more depression and sadness.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Another thing we could do is, instead of thinking of it as the crisis or thinking of it as something ominous, we can think of it as a chance for, like I said before, reinvention. Who am I going to be? You know, I'm going to wear new clothes. I'm going to do my hair. I'm going to get a new car. Why not? Why does it have to be looked at as a negative, as
Okay.
to a positive? Now you can afford it. Now you could do it. Now, you know, why do we have to be so martyrish?
Right.
For other people? Why now can't you enjoy your life?
Okay. How do you make sure that, and I agree, and I love what you say. How do we make sure we're making a choice that we're not going to regret in a year or two?
Good. So, you know, we can convince ourselves of anything and everything. And we do, because we're grown
Right.
people, right? Sometimes it's important to run your ideas by other people. Okay, you know, I'm thinking about doing this, and this is why I think it might be good, and these are the pros and the cons. What are your thoughts? Sometimes people are just like, this is what I want, and I don't care what anybody else wants. And that doesn't necessarily work out well.
Right.
But run it by somebody that you trust their opinion. You're not asking permission, which is different. You're asking, how does this sound? You're not saying, can I do this, please, sir? Thank you.
Right.
But you're saying, I'm thinking about this, and these are the pros and cons. What are your thoughts? And I don't need your yes or no to do it. I'm just running it.
Need your insight.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. So me and my wife, so how do I know you got to leave soon, so I'm gonna let you go.
Let me say one more thing.
Okay.
Because I'm a therapist, you know, I have to do the plug. I think therapy is one of the most important activities anyone can do for themselves during a lifetime.
Okay.
Why is that? Because you have an objection, a person who is objective to whatever's going on in your life. And I've been fortunate in terms of the number of years that I've been practicing, that I have had people who have come to therapy, left, and came back 2 or 3 times. Why? Because they were at a different stage in their life and different things presented themselves. And it's like, I mean, I love it. I guess I must have done a good job if you would come back.
Right.
But the fact that they know that they're at a different stage and they're like, this worked before, but it's not working now. So engaging in therapy, be it individual or group, engaging in anything that's a group, because you get feedback. Book club is another one. A support group. You have a group of friends that you really, can rely on.
I'm a pastor, so I'm saying come into the weekly.
Yes.
The Bible say discipleship group. Yeah.
Exactly. Because you hear other people's not opinions, but you're not in it by yourself. They're going through the same things that you're going through. Prioritizing self-care is another one.
Okay.
And what does that look like? We talked about it a little bit on the physical side, but it may mean that you have some downtime. It may mean that you engage in those activities that really give you peace, that make you feel like, hey, I'm doing something. Some people travel, some people have art, some people cook. It depends. It depends.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I won't ask the one question I asked is not what I was going to ask before. Just related to what you shared there. Are you suggesting that because people often, people often go into therapy or counseling in the midst of a crisis? You're
Yeah.
saying people shouldn't wait for the crisis to come. They
Oh,
should.
absolutely not.
Okay.
Because you know it. You know it's already there.
Okay.
It's like if I act like you don't see me, it doesn't mean that you're
I'm
not
not there.
visible.
Right. Right.
Yes, but also from a cultural standpoint, we have all kinds of perceptions about therapy. That's for other people. I'm not crazy. What is it going to do for me? I talk to my friend and they tell, and some of those things are true or are not true. But the difference with going into therapy is you're talking to somebody who's listening differently, who has a trained ear. So, like, if you say, I'm anxious and I didn't sleep all night, and somebody says, well, take some Benadryl or get a drink or whatever.
Right.
A therapist is going to hear that differently.
Okay.
And ask different questions that may, get at the underlying issues of why the root causes of why you might not be sleeping, as opposed to what friends do is this is how you fix it.
Right.
They give you the fix as opposed to what's going on here. And so it's a wonderful experience. It's a wonderful opportunity. The hardest part is finding the right person.
Okay.
And that's hard.
Okay. I know you have to go. So so we're going to have you back.
Okay.
Because you need to tell people how to go about finding the right person and find the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I went through. And I'm sure people are going to want to talk to you even more.
Mm-hmm.
So we thank you, Theresa, thank you for joining us. And let me just give them your information.
I don't know if anybody's put any questions in yet.
Mm-hmm.
And if they did, maybe you can pull those out and I can address those.
Okay. We don't have any questions. I don't see any questions, but we'll share them as we see them throughout the week.
Okay.
But let let people know they could contact you directly.
Yes.
Your website is transformativepathwaysbyt.com.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to book you or if they want to get your information, they could go to this website.
They can go to it and send me a message.
Transformativepathwaysbyt.com. And then you could also email her at consult.t12@gmail.com. Consult.t12 @gmail.com. So
this has been great, and thank you for having me. There's so much about this period of time that needs to be discussed, and I appreciate the re-invite, and I'm looking forward to coming back.
Yeah, because I want you to tell me why it seems like men and women go through it differently.
Oh, yes.
That was my question, but I know it's gonna take some time. So yeah, come back. We're gonna have you back real soon.
Okay.
Because this is a topic dear to my heart and dear to because we find ourselves going through it, and we know that we're not the only ones, and we want to get help for people that want to make the adjustment or see the opportunity. There's so much good stuff that you said tonight, and so we want to thank you.
Thank you so much, and I'll be seeing you soon. God bless.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Amen. We want to thank Miss Theresa for being here. I thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight on our Motivational Monday tonight. And whether you're joining us on Facebook or on our Bounce Back page, so good to have you with us. What we've been talking about tonight is rooted in the concept of renewal. And what I love about what Miss Theresa said is that we should look at every stage of life. There's multiple stages of life. And we'll have her come back and talk about the different stages that we go through and the tasks involved in each stage. But Isaiah says, behold, I'm doing a new thing. And so we want to always understand that no matter how we feel, that every stage of our lives is an opportunity for a new thing. Thank you for joining us tonight on behalf of my lovely co-host, my wife, Paulette Wyatt, myself, Theresa Allen, and the whole community. Thank you for joining us. Stay motivated, and we're going to bounce back together. God bless.